Nice. Nice.
Okay, now they should be able to hear me. So stupid. Anyway, like I was saying before, welcome everybody to Toon Talk 2.0. You may have noticed that Virus Fox is not joining us tonight, which means that we can actually have a conversation without weird
Well,
political interruptions.
yeah.
Oh, so it's funny though because this is a bit serendipitous. I found out not that long ago that Virus wasn't going to be joining us tonight, and I had a thought today actually because I discovered a YouTube channel that I was listening to as I was working, and it basically went through like older TV shows back from network television, back when TV had, I mean, I guess TV still has networks, but not really because nobody
Right.
watches them. And basically, like what happened with those shows. And like, I want you to imagine a time where a television show having 6 or 7 seasons was common,
Yeah.
and they were
Yeah. It was a
26 episode minimum seasons.
right.
Maybe you might have a first season of 13 if the studio was really like, this is a maybe. But generally speaking, your seasons were 22 to 26 episodes at minimum. Some of your animated shows, like I think the second season of Gargoyles is 52 episodes. That
That
seems
was
right.
pretty big.
Oh, I know because
Yeah.
they did a new episode every week and they did it for a year, so
Right.
big deal.
They
Yeah.
were very careful to know that their characters were gonna connect with the audience because that was your only chance to watch them.
Hmm.
And you didn't have a way to record them. You know.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
like,
you had the archaic VHS like VCR
yeah.
recorder, but
You could set it up and then you had to pause on commercials and come back and record again. But that was a chore, you know.
oh,
I
I
remember.
well, but again, what else, you had no other option. It's a chore now, but I still think somebody if somebody has like a bunch of like Saturday morning cartoon runs, I would love to see this that they just recorded because I had a couple, but those tapes are long gone. But if somebody still has them,
People do. Some
yeah,
people made them.
if you
Yeah.
made a YouTube channel of just like 5 hour Saturday morning cartoon blocks, commercials and all, like you'll get a billion views.
Yeah. Easily.
Like literally,
Especially.
I would put that on. Like if I had young enough children, I would put that on Saturday mornings and be like, this is what it was like.
Yeah, because you had to get up early and you had to be in front of the TV the whole time. You know.
And that was your
So you.
time. It was special because it was like the kids get it on Saturday morning. It was perfect for everyone. Parents want to sleep in, kids are occupied. Pour a bull as our buddy Toast says all the time, nothing beats getting up at like 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, pouring yourself a giant ass bowl of your favorite cereal, and just enjoying some righteous fucking cartoons.
Right. And they even had like a special timing for the cartoon block because the earliest cartoons they were more like for children,
Mm-hmm.
and then they started getting into the more serious stuff as as,
Mm-hmm.
as the morning progressed. You know.
Yeah, but it was like and I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. But anyway, what spurred this on was I was thinking about like those old TV shows, like those old sitcoms, because I listened to a video about Third Rock from the Sun, one of my favorite shows ever, and then dinosaurs. You remember the puppet dinosaur show,
Super.
Jim Henson?
I'm the baby.
Yeah. What I didn't know because it was a little before I watched that show based on the VHS tapes that were sold. It was on TV, but I guess I didn't click. I think I saw it on like Saturday repeats because I remember watching it on the weekends, but I could be wrong. It's been like 30
Right,
plus years.
like
But
30 years.
yeah, but my biggest exposure was watching it on the VHS tapes. But I didn't realize when that show was on, it was on at 7 p.m. That was a
Yeah,
prime time
it
family
prime time
comedy
slot.
show.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
wild to me. What a risk! Such a huge risk.
I mean, it tackled very serious themes. That show, even though they were dinosaurs, and it was supposed to be funny all the time. They did what the 80s and 90s shows did back then. They took a stance on issues,
Hmm.
and they showed them to their younger audience. I mean, in an effort to educate people,
It's funny. I always say about the show, I loved that show as a kid, but I think I like it more as an adult because there are so many episodes of that show that I watched them as an adult and I was like, how did they get this on
Yeah,
TV in a children's show? Like this is
yeah,
insane. Like there's an episode where they don't even sugarcoat it. They're straight up talking about steroids. And they're not
yeah.
like it's not a very it's a the line is not that blurry. I mean, it's
They
lit.
had to make, like, they knew they had one shot to get their message across, so they had to be very specific and very explicit about what they were talking about. They tackled issues like inequality and like racism and things like that, and like being
But
plain evil.
but they did it in a way that still managed to be funny, like genuinely hilarious. Like their two-parter Nuts to War, that was that was literally just tearing apart the logic of the Persian Gulf War. That's all it was. And
Yes.
it's like it's on the but I love the fact that their military insignia is a target. Like
Yeah.
and it's I mean like yeah, it's satire and since it's giant talking dinosaur puppets, you can go crazy places and it works. Like it's
Yes.
wild. And then there's another one where the baby gets a random horn, which just ends up being like an abnormality due to an injury, and they form a whole religious cult around him. It's like, this is so insane. But then you look at how cults form and you're like, oh, that's kind of scary at the exact same time.
Yeah, because some of these things, some of these serious issues that people are very emotional on. Watching a TV series was like the first contact that young people had with these issues.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
maybe you had no idea about them before that. You were just a kid,
Or
and then
what?
you watch a show like this,
Yeah.
and you start thinking about things, and you
Well,
start taking like the right
and
stance.
yeah, and what happened a lot with me because like again, I'm still shocked. I'm honestly shocked because this will make you understand this. My mother she refused to let me watch The Simpsons when I was young. She felt that it was too disrespectful. And it's funny because I'm not a huge Simpsons fan now. Because of course, when I became an adult, I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this, and I watch it. I'm like, eh. I appreciate what it did for television, but I'm just it's not my cup of tea. But I mean, I respect it. But like there was very strange rules. Like I wasn't allowed to say the word "but" growing up because again, my mom had this really weird like I don't know, the word was repugnant to her, but she let me watch
Yeah.
dinosaurs, a show that has an episode literally called "What Sexual Harassment."
Right, right. Things like that. Like, if you wanted to teach young people that you shouldn't be disrespectful to women, you made a show about it. You
Right.
you made a
Yeah. And what happened to me was I would see it in this media first, and then when I encountered it in real life, I'd be like, well, that's not right. Because I've already been taught this lesson, right? And it happened in a myriad of other, you know, other ways. But anyway, the point the thought process that I was going through today, and I was like, because there is a phenomenon. Like this is scientific fact. Like I think it is I don't remember what the number is, but like basically like by the time you reach age 30, it's definitely here. Everything that happened prior to that was better than what happens after that. I think it actually might be more like 20 or 25. But like basically back in the good old days, it was so much better than today because everything they make today is shit. And But my whole thing with 90s television in particular, although I think it's true for movies on the whole too, it honestly was better.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
we
to say
we
it doesn't all suck. It doesn't all suck. I'm
right. I
talking
mean,
about in the general, because let's remember too, and I know there are other factors in this, but let's remember, like, and this extends into the early 2000s. I think it really started to go downhill by about 2004. But I remember, like, my parents would drop us off at the movie theater, and we would decide, our group of friends would decide what we would watch once we get there. We knew we were going to the movies. We didn't know what we were going to see because it was affordable. And that was the main reason. But you also had options that weren't complete dog shit.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you had a variety. Like, I remember more than once we were arguing over what movie we were going to see. Like, you had options. Now it's like, which it's mostly because of price, right? But now it's an event to go to the theater because, like, it's not. I remember when a $5 movie ticket was considered expensive.
yeah. I remember that too. But going to the movies today, I mean, it's still fun, even though it's more of a, like you said, like an event.
Yeah.
It's not that casual anymore because you just rather stay home and stream.
Well, it's
But
you don't want to incur the financial risk of going and seeing something that's bad.
I mean, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, we tend to forget so much material, so much media that we don't remember right now that really sucked back then. We only remember the great things, and like
It's
today,
it's
I mean,
funny.
there's so
It's
much.
fun. Yeah, it's funny you say that though. But my point is, and we might be able to debate this in a friendly way. My point is like, yeah, that's true. That's a true phenomenon. There was definitely bad cartoons in the 90s, but I guess what I'm getting at is that the greats of the 90s are better than the greats of today, and even the dog shit of the 90s is better than the dog shit today.
That's a great debate because I'm gonna give you an example. I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty. I know it's.
Well,
I mean,
that's adult animation though. They're related, but I would put that into a kind of a separate category.
but I mean, it is a cartoon, and
Yeah, I should clarify. I'm more talking about like the Saturday morning cartoon or like early after like Disney afternoon lineup, stuff like that,
maybe,
stuff
maybe
aimed at kids.
those went away. Maybe those went away because as technology evolved, the public perception of what comedy and what themes and what education is changed as well. In society, we're not as prudish as we were like 50 or 60 years ago. And Rick and Morty is a great example of a cartoon that evolved with society, and it's super smart. I mean, it's really funny and it's really really smart. So I know it's not pretentious. It's not like you're not gonna
Mm.
understand. I mean, you're gonna laugh because it's really funny. I mean, the voices and the things like that. But if you pay real attention to what they're doing, shows like Rick and Morty, like South Park, like The Simpsons, like Family Guy,
Adult
they're super.
animation, adult animation is better today because frankly there's more of it. It was remember when The Simpsons, like I'm old enough to remember when The Simpsons was like, wait a minute, they're doing what with cartoons? Like you can't do that. Cartoons are for kids. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Matt Groening said, "Hold my beer."
you know, kids when they're like, I mean, I don't know, around, I mean, like 8 or 10 or something like that, and they're really smart. They know that they're not supposed to be pandered to as children. They know that they're smarter than that, and they want to be smarter than that.
Right, but here's kind of my deal when it comes to specifically children's programming, and you've gone on this podcast, you've gone into the reasons why this was even like because the number one argument I hear from people saying like, well, like yeah, but all the shows back then were made to sell toys, and I'm like, and they were still good. Granted, most of that was legislatively motivated, but I mean, like, I'm perfectly aware of the fact that what's a good example? Like Mighty Max. Mighty Max is a great example of this. Mighty Max only exists because who made that? Mattel. Mattel made Mighty Max. Who made Polly Pocket? Same thing.
Yeah,
Like
Mattel.
they like Mattel literally was like, we want to make a boy version of Polly Pocket, and we need a vehicle to sell it. So they're like, cool, we'll make a Saturday morning cartoon about a kid with a magic baseball cap that's followed around by a giant with a sword and a talking owl. That show was a
Yes.
thousand times better than it had any right to be, and it only existed to sell toys.
Um, sure, because that's called the culture.
Yeah,
Because I watch the cartoon, I buy the toys, I have the toys in my house, I play with the toys, I recreate the storylines that I watch on the show, and I learn.
but they created a story about a kid completely out of his element that has to step up because of a responsibility that he initially didn't choose, but eventually, as the story goes, takes up willingly. Which some people would say that's a destiny thing. No, that is picking up a burden willingly and accepting responsibility, even if it's responsibility that you initially didn't want. Maybe he still doesn't want it, but somebody's got to do it, and you got the magic baseball cap. So tough luck, kid. Like,
Are you scared? Good, you should
yeah.
be.
Well, in the villain's legitimately terrifying. Like, and like
Yeah, yeah.
and there's no ambiguity. He wants to kill this child. Like, there's zero ambiguity about this. So it's like, oh, and then here's another one. Are you familiar? This one, wow, this is a deep cut. This is another one that was made. I think it was made to sell a video game, but then a toy line was also around. Do you remember Mutant League?
No.
Yeah, Mutant League was wild. So the premise of it is
Nothing.
they're professional athletes. I think they started with football, but it goes into various. There's some kind of like chemical leak during a game, and all these pro athletes get turned into mutants, right? And
Okay.
so they create a sports league that the mutants play, and like they can be dismembered, they have powers and whatnot. And there, of course, there's good guys and bad guys, but there are episodes in which the bad guys are even like, yeah, I'm I'm a piece of shit, but even I'm not gonna cheat because I know that that makes me a loser. And I'm that right there.
Yeah.
Like how many adults today our age get bent out of shape when not and not even a sport they're playing, but like their team was like, oh, that was a bullshit. I was like, no, it wasn't. Your team just didn't win. Like, where's the sportsmanship, man?
Yeah, I mean, temperament is something to be regulated. You can't just lash out at what you don't like. That's an issue today. That's an
Yeah, it
issue
is.
today
And
with
I, but I
even
I
with adults. Even with adults.
but because there's a lot of like and again like we were kind of the last generation to well yeah no we were the last generation to get that true because I remember when Saturday morning cartoon lineups went away
Yeah, I mean, I
or
guess it
switch I should
it
say
happened.
switch to cable first because then like the
Yeah,
network Saturday morning lineups kind of faded because you had channels like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon that were basically cartoons most of, if not all the time. Um,
yeah,
so that was the first, but and then streaming came along and it just killed it by comparison. Um, but I guess my point being is that like anybody who criticizes those shows and like yeah there was Drek. I mean like we all saw Double Dragon.
of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
There's a bunch of things that they just rushed the projects because they wanted to jump in on the train. I mean, you
sure,
can't blame them.
but
I
even
mean,
but
we don't even remember them.
well but
I mean, I remember this cartoon. This was a Dick cartoon. It was called The Littles,
I
and it was
remember
like
that
a race
show.
of like humanoid mice, and they lived in the capital.
Yeah,
Dude, it educated you.
yeah,
It educated children into what the capital did and how laws were made and how people should act, and it was funny as well.
yeah. No,
It
one
was
hundred percent.
it was memorable.
I had my
As
I
opposed
had
to the
yeah.
generic thing.
If you take off the obligatory like Romeo and Juliet episode of every teen sitcom ever made, like my first exposure to Shakespeare was from Gargoyles.
Of course.
100%. I knew who Puck was before even encountering A Midsummer Night's Dream because and then when I did encounter I'm like, "Oh, I already know who this dude is and I know basically what he's all about."
So some of the first things I remember learning from watching American cartoons as a kid is that all the good guys were friends
Hmm.
and all the bad guys, they didn't give a fuck about each other. They weren't friends. They would leave each other behind. They would throw insults around. They would make fun of each other, the villains, and
Yeah,
they'd be funny. They'd be funny about it.
yeah, look no further than Bebop and Rocksteady.
Exactly. That's a great example. They would like hit their head on the ceiling, and the other one would be like, "Yeah, you deserve that," and I'm
Oh,
gonna laugh at you.
and then how Shredder treats them. I mean, there's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's zero
Yeah, like
respect.
around and like sending them away like they're expendable. And the heroes, they're always friendly, they're always respectful, they're always helping each other, they're always, like Han Solo, he comes back and he helps Luke, and even though you don't think he's gonna do it, I mean, like
But
this kind of thing.
even when there's division, even when they have a problem in the group, they don't leave each other out to dry. And that's a
No, they
lesson.
don't. Yes, it is. It teaches you about how society has to work together.
Hmm.
It as a kid, it teaches you to go out in the world and be respectful of strangers, and be loving of your friends. That's what
Yeah,
it did
at a
for my age.
yeah, at a basic level. And then another one, and I mean, like I can't sing this show's praises enough. Um, and this was a real turning point in animation period, not to mention children's animation. X-Men, the
Yeah,
animated
yeah, yeah,
series.
yeah.
It
That's
gives
for the mile.
you it gives you a complex villain that's not like, how do I say this?
Yeah,
He's not an anti-hero, but he was probably the first villain that I ever saw that it's like, listen, may not agree with him, but it's not like he doesn't have a point. And here's the interesting thing. Magneto has lines he won't cross because Magneto doesn't think he's the villain.
I mean, once you start explore, I mean, the younger you are, the more impressionable you are. So you have to be very careful how you present things to the younger
Mhm.
kids. But as they start growing up and they start getting smarter, you actually have to like complexify your characters.
Yeah, so
You
as to
can't
not bore them.
black and white. Yeah, just so they understand the nuances of life. Not everything is as black and white as we think that it is. So they start writing these villains as having a motive, like Loki, like Magneto, like these bad guys that you like, these bad guys that you kind of root for, because, like you said, they don't view themselves as the villains. They view themselves as the good guys, and that's a parallel to real life.
Well,
Um,
Magneto's my favorite one to point to because writing is chef's kiss because he won't kill Xavier because Xavier is his, and this is all Magneto's point of view.
you know, it's a
Xavier, yeah,
he's his brother.
yeah, but he's just misguided. He just needs to come around. In the meantime,
He's very
his,
powerful. He's
yeah,
Trump, dude. He's very powerful, and he has no time for bullshit. Yeah. He thinks. Um, this is the thing about characters like Magneto. They're so very powerful that they restrain themselves, but they have a clear goal of no compromising.
yeah.
No? I'm gonna go ahead with my plan. If you wanna join me, you'll be safe. If you're gonna stand up opposing me, you're gonna just die. I'm just
Or
so
yeah,
powerful.
I cannot guarantee your safety if you stand in my way.
I don't want to hurt you,
Yeah,
but if I
exactly.
have to,
That's why Magneto's so interesting as a villain. And it's like, especially once you learn his entire backstory, you're like,
right.
man, I'm not saying he's right, but I can understand how he got there.
But you see, there's a lesson there. There's a lesson there. They're like, if I like the kid, even not even that young. You could be like 15 or 16 watching this, and you're thinking, when I become this powerful, I won't fall into that trap that Magneto fell into, because ruthlessness is not the answer.
Right. And the show goes out of its way in a way that's not preachy. It shows you
It
why
presents,
that is the case.
yeah, it exposes you to the ideas, and it lets you think.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean it doesn't become emotional about it, and start inflecting on the right words like people do today.
Exactly. And then like even I think it's in episode 3 or it might even be 2 when Magneto goes to bust Beast out of his prison and Beast is like, "Nah, I'm cool. I'm going to stay and have my day in court because if I don't do that, then now I am a criminal." And it's like, "Oh, you may not understand that as a kid, but it stays with you."
Yeah, the whole self-sacrifice mm, trope, which is an American ideal. You know what? Much of this media, much of this cartoon series and all that is full to the brim with American ideals,
Sure.
with what I call American ideals.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, rooted in Western civilization, but add in a dose of enlightenment and republicanism thinking, not Republican Party, republicanism, and you
Yeah.
get basically that idea of like a Western virtuous.
You just touched on one of the principal tenets of American ideals. The republic, the etymology definition of a republic is something that makes its issues public.
Hmm.
It resolves its issues publicly. That's what a republic does. So you as Americans, you come together publicly, like using whatever means of propagation of information you have. Like right now, you have all of them because you have the internet and
Right.
all of this technology. But you settle issues publicly. You don't go into the back rooms like we do in Mexico and other countries, and you just don't talk about things publicly. You resolve things all of you together. That's what makes you smarter. That's
Well,
what
and
makes you grow.
it's how our and a lot of people don't understand this. It's how the society's been shaped because those values of like sometimes I guess you could say we get accused of being too in love with the sort of like the social fabric, but I mean it serves a purpose. It's utility because if you can't go out into the public square and speak your position, then it very very quickly can become that backroom scenario. You have to be able to you have to be able to state your case.
You know what? I have this idea. I don't know how popular it is today, but I have this idea that if you're antagonizing me because we have conflicting ideas about the same issue, and you're antagonizing me, and we're basically rivals, if not enemies, the the least I want to do is to stop listening to you.
Right. No, because that's
I,
where it breaks down.
what I want to do is I want to listen to everything you have to say. Everything, like they said, like keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer, right? Like I don't want you to shut up and just like start talking about me behind my back. I want to listen to everything you have to say so I can analyze it, so I can refute it, so I can maybe accept it. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you don't have the information, you can't do any of that.
Like those shows back in the 80s, back in the 90s, when you wanted to make like an episode about racism, you had to have a character that's racist.
Yeah.
You needed that. You needed to write a guy that exposes the racist idea.
Well, actually, there's an example. I remember this from my now granted, like even back then I thought racism was stupid, but the Super Mario Brothers cartoon did a great racism episode because what happened is Bowser or Koopa, he was Koopa back then, Mandela effect. Yeah, he was King
Yeah,
Koopa first.
Koopa.
Sorry, not sorry. But he dyes half of the Mushroom Kingdom red and the other half blue. And then of course, like because there's such a color difference now, when people have interpersonal issues, they're like, oh, those blues are, you know, oh, if we
Yeah,
could only get rid of the blues and vice versa. And then at the end of the, 15-minute episode, they come to realize that that's really stupid. And I think like Mario's last line before they all get turned back is they're like, oh, well, I wish we weren't all, blue and red. And he gets like, but it doesn't matter now because we've worked this out. We've, like we know now that it's dumb to think that way. And then of course they all get turned back because they didn't want to have to reanimate all those.
yeah.
but but I mean, like, God, that was a show that was aimed at very small children, and it's like, is it basic to an adult? Absolutely, but to a kid, it's like, well, yeah, that is really stupid to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
think
When
like
you were small,
this person was my friend 5 minutes ago, and now just because they're a different color, I'm supposed to be mad at them. That's dumb.
like what does it matter? But I mean, you know what? I've never viewed racism as a skin color issue. I've always thought it's a cultural thing, you know.
That's because you're from Mexico. If like here, honestly, and this is something that I've kind of noticed culturally, like basically from the Rio Grande South, there's definitely racism, but it is more. Actually, Virus puts it best. I've heard him say a number of times. In Mexico, it's classism, not so much
Yeah,
racism.
yeah. You
In
can't
the
be racist in Mexico against colored people because 70% or 80% of the population in Mexico is colored. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't exist. But you can be classist. You definitely can, and it happens. I've always thought I mean, okay, story time. When I was like maybe 17, I went to the movie theater in Miami. I think the year was like 1994 or something like that. And there was this movie by Keenan Ivory Wayans. It was one of his earliest.
hmm
It's called, I don't remember the name right now. Maybe somebody can just comment. But I mean, it'll come back to me. But I remember being in the hotel room and watching the trailer on TV, and I was like, I want to go watch that movie. I had no idea that they had like black people movies and white people movies at the theater. I didn't know that was a thing. But so I went to the movies alone because I've always, ever since I was a little kid, I always loved going to the movies alone.
I love it.
So I went to the movie theater to watch this movie by Keenan Ivory Wayans. I don't remember the name of the movie, but it was like some sort of like a comedy. And then I remember walking onto the theater, and it was full of black people, dude. And they just showed me this look. They were all like, "What's this kid doing here? Like, what? what? What's this?" So I had to walk out of there. I was so uncomfortable being there that I had like everybody was looking at me there. They were like, "This isn't your place to be," you know. Like,
And
what are you gonna laugh? And I'm
yeah,
like, "No."
that is unfortunate. That can happen. I've been in movie like I hate even to say it this way, but I mean it's true. There are movies that are aimed primarily at a black audience, and
Yeah.
I've seen some, and I never had an experience like that. But you definitely like there's a difference in the theater crowd for sure. But
I mean, it's not like they hate me, or it's not like they like I hate them. I didn't belong there, you know.
well, I disagree. I disagree because I think but again, I wasn't there at the time, and I also don't know what movie you're talking about. But I do remember like when I went to go see Black Panther when it first came out in the theaters, like obviously that audience skewed heavily, and I actually thought I'm like this is pretty cool because it's like I understand what this means for this community.
But
Like
did that happen? Did something kind of like that happen to you
no,
that
no, no,
time when
no,
you?
no. I just noticed, but like a lot, there was a high turnout of black viewers wanting to watch this movie, and I'm like, that's pretty cool because you got to remember, like, not that you didn't have like I don't know that you would have that you'd had a movie quite that high profile with a
But
black
listen,
main
something that's
character.
very common. Yeah, something that happens here in Mexico, for example, like which I don't think it's cool, but I mean it's only natural. You know, it's not that we like things or not. I mean, things either they are or they're not. But like for example, like here in Mexico, if you go to like El Barrio, you know, like any of these colonias, like the hood, like like not wealthy parts of town, like which Mexico is full of. Like let's say you want to go there and you want to like walk around with like your gold watch and like your like your gold chain. Yeah, that's not a good idea, dude.
I mean,
I mean,
that's just generally speaking a bad idea.
you're provoked. You don't have to be like you can go to Vegas and walk into a casino with your gold watch and your gold chain and
Sure.
nobody will notice you. That they're gonna be like, what the fuck? I don't know this guy. But if you do the same thing in the wrong place, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but just a question of awareness and intelligence.
Right, you have to be smart about things. Yeah, you know what it's lost today in TV shows and cartoons. I think creators are very picky about what issues to touch and how to do it because they don't want the backlash, the instant backlash that they get on
And I
social
think
media.
that's it. Yeah, because now it is. And like, don't get me wrong. I understand why the media has changed. I just don't like it.
Um, Society changed, you know.
Yeah, for well, in technology, because now, and I totally get it because now you get instant feedback, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, that's the other thing. Like, I love the convenience of streaming, But I'll be honest, if we could, and this will never happen, if we could go back to the old like TV network model with like basic cable as an option, I much preferred that.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean,
It'll never happen because technology won't
I
let it
have.
happen.
Yeah, it won't. It won't happen. But I have this memory of back in '94. I used to work with my dad back then, and I was out working that day. It was a Thursday, I remember, and I was so excited because they were gonna air the last episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Right. Yeah. Event
And
television.
I was so I mean I burned to watch it. I mean, and I don't know, I don't remember the exact details, but I remember I ended up going home just right in the nick of time and just getting home just right in when it was starting. And if you're a Star Trek fan and you know which episode I'm talking about, it's the last episode of the Next Generation, titled All Good Things. It's one of the best episodes of TV I've ever watched in my life.
And you're not the only one that thinks that.
I'm
But
so
no,
glad I did.
remember when you had to plan your week around your TV
Yeah,
shows? If there was some,
you
because
have to plan
like
your, yeah.
you had to plan around it, and it was like I know my
You
friends.
were
Well, my friends and I remember when I had cable because I grew up until I didn't have cable access all the time until I was 17. I only had it at my dad's house every other weekend. Um, but when I went to my dad's house on Fridays, like we all like Dragon Ball Z Toonami at 5 p.m. Don't miss it.
yeah. Imagine the responsibility of the creators knowing that you're gonna run to watch the show. They can't disappoint. They can just like present you with crap and like with ideological bullshit. And today they don't have that problem. They can just churn out whatever and just leave it there for posterity. Like
That's true.
it's not like
Justin
that
says
today.
the kids don't know the agony of having their favorite show get preempted by a baseball game or a football game. Ah, that was the worst.
Yeah, yeah. When they cut the show, yeah,
Oh, so horrible. Or even worse, when it got delayed.
yeah,
And here's the
yeah.
thing, it wasn't delayed. If that baseball game went over 15 minutes, you missed the first 15 minutes of that episode. It was terrible. It was freaking awful. But you know what's not awful? Our friends at R69, the latest and greatest music sensations. And not only are they changing music, they're changing the way you experience music. Hopefully, that sounds cryptic and enticing because if you visit r69verse.com, you can see what it's all about. But
I love.
I know,
I
dude,
love.
like he'll send me a song and I'm just like, wow.
I love music.
Music was
Music moves.
better. Music better was better in the 90s too. I will that is a hill I will absolutely die on.
And you know what? I'm gonna segue a little into like touching on this on the emotional part because we've talked about the smarts of it.
Yeah.
We've talked about how
Oh,
smart they are.
emotionally, you can't
Yeah.
touch the 90s.
Yeah.
You cannot
Yeah.
touch it. I'm sorry. There are highlights. Like I will sing. I think Breaking Bad may be the greatest television series ever made. But like if you're going for like volume of great emotional stories, you can't touch the 90s. Late 90s, early
And
2000s, you can't touch it.
they were masters of the craft. They
How
they
many how
knew
many
they
how many people watched the Friends finale?
yeah. I don't know, like
Wasn't there like
I don't know,
100
like,
million people? Like yeah, it was 80
maybe
to 100 million. Hang on, I'm gonna look that up because it was a huge number.
yeah, it was big. Yeah, everybody loved those guys.
Well, but that again,
Everybody
that's event television.
that was
Yeah,
24, right?
yeah, I think that
2004
was
or something.
2004. But the last one, oh, 52.5 million people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Percentage of the U.S. population is that?
Well, there was this show back in the 80s. It was a live action show. It was sci-fi. It was called Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. So this was groundbreaking, okay?
So
This was live action.
not to cut you off, but that
Yeah.
almost 18% of the people in the United States watched the Friends finale.
Yeah.
18%. You can't get that many people to vote. I think that's not true. I think more people vote, but I mean, like that's a
Emotional
scarily close
thing.
number.
No, you're right. Well, I don't know about turnout, the voting turnout in America,
I
but
think it's like
I'll know
30%.
that the voting turnout in Mexico is around that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, does your vote really count in Mexico? I'm asking. I'm not.
I've never voted in my life. I don't think it makes a difference at all in Mexico. Not because I mean that's that's a subject in itself, right? Corruption in because to me the word corruption means to take something good and turn it bad.
That I mean, yeah,
That's
that is
corrupt.
that's what the which actually sneak peek because Alexander doesn't know. Well, he knows it, but he doesn't know when. He's going to be my guest on the Arte podcast, and I really want to dig into. That's why I don't want to dig too much into it tonight, because you every time I've heard you talk, you really talk about how you were influenced by American culture growing up, and I want to hear that perspective from somebody who lived outside of the United
And
States.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not shilling for you guys. I'm not like taking a. I'm not peddling. I truly, really, profoundly, deeply love America. Not because I'm a fan, but because I see all the good things. I've always seen all the good things in the American ideals because they're there.
Well, and yeah,
They're there.
we're so cynical now that we're like everybody on the surface level believes like, oh, America sucks. I'm like, okay, name me a better place. This is a hill I will die on. Name me a better place. I can tell you why it's shittier every time.
Dude, there's many great countries in the world. There's many beautiful, culturally rich, beautiful, polite people, places in the world. You can name Germany, you can name France, you can name Finland or Denmark, you can name like a bunch like Japan and South Korea. They're paradises, but nothing compares to America, man. Like the American smarts and the American humor and American goodness, it's a phenomenon in itself. You know, I don't know if I can articulate it as I hope to,
Well, but
but
scoreboard.
okay, let's connect this thought to what I was talking about this show with Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. Okay, so this show you have Jonathan Power, he's the good guy, and he has a team, right? And there's the tough guy. They all have code names. Like so, the tough guy's name is Tank, and you have like a pilot guy. His name is like a
Yeah.
jet flying guy. He's Hawk, and you have this girl. Her name's Pilot, right? Pilot Chase. That's right. And in one of the episodes, I guess it was the last episode of the first season. So the bad guys they break through into the good guys' fortress, you know, the, like with
Mhm.
drones and bullets and shit. And they're gonna kill them all, you know. And everybody's out of the base except Pilot. She's there in the base, so she decides to blow up the base with her inside. Yeah. This is a show for kids,
This is a
dude. And
children's show.
I'm watching this as a kid, and she communicates with Captain Power on the telecom, which was sci-fi when I was a kid. And she's like bleeding from the lip, and she's like holding her arm, and she's like crying, and she's like, "Don't come for me, I'm gonna." Dude, I bawled like I lost a family member.
Yeah. Well, that to be fair, that's atypical. That typically didn't happen in kid show, but when it did, oh, and now it's like it's almost cliche now to kill off a main character just to be subversive.
Well, you know why she did it? Because she saved her friends.
Yeah, no, I'm arguing that sounds like an awesome story arc. But I just
Because
thought of
because they're
yeah, I thought of another example, and this one's wild. This might be one of the better examples of just like taking a cartoon concept that is just so insane and stupid on its face, yet works for some reason because of good storytelling, good character building, and just the lessons learned. Do you remember the Mighty Ducks, the animated series,
yeah,
not the movies?
yeah,
Okay, so
I do.
I'm gonna walk you guys through if you haven't heard of this. Anthropomorphic ducks from a different galaxy, where asteroids look like hockey pucks, and their planet is invaded by the Dragonuses. Like there's Lord Dragon, the dragon people basically, and they're in a full blown like um what's the word I'm looking for? Not insurrection. Insurgency. They're in a full blown insurgency. I mean, like, it's war. Episode one, the hero that you think is going to be the hero dies, is killed in front of your face. And then Wild Wing, who becomes the main hero, has to step up. And, like, you think he's going to be the sidekick, right? And then his big freedom fighting buddy sacrifices himself so everybody else can get away. And it's like, this is in episode one, and then they come to Earth, and now they're wrecked there. They can't go back home, so now they're going to defend planet Earth because they know Dragonis is going there next. And in their free time, they're going to become a professional hockey team in Anaheim, California. That's
Yes.
insane. That is stupid beyond all measure, but it was great.
Yes.
2 seasons of awesome TV.
It's also it's Disney, right?
Yeah, it was a Disney
It was.
produced show.
Yeah, I mean Disney. Um, I love Disney. I mean, like, full disclosure here.
Oh, I
I
love Disney.
love Disney ever since I was a kid. Nowadays, I'm not so sure. Like, I
They
went to the
do.
movies. I went to see the Snow White
Oh
movie, which
God.
was very much aligned. Yeah, I went to the movies and I watched it. I mean, I love Disney. I think they're great. I think their property is great. I think they're awesome people.
They
I
got a
think
really
they're
good
engaged.
archive.
I think they're so powerful. They're so influential that they knew, like, they decided they had to take a side in the culture wars,
But you
and they
can,
took the good
yeah,
side. I mean,
but you can do that. Here's the thing, you can do that. It depends on what your aim is. Like, if they wanted to say, look, we believe that even if you don't agree, everybody deserves, which is the same lesson that these 90s cartoons taught. Like, even if you
yeah,
don't agree, everybody should be treated with respect until they do something that,
right.
you know, but that's not what they did.
Because they underestimate intellect today. I mean,
This is true.
they should be more subtle about it.
They
They
should.
shouldn't.
Or at the very least, their lesson doesn't have to be, and I think this was the main fault in what they were getting at. Your lesson, and don't get me wrong, Disney has delivered even in recent years. Like, I still maintain, like, the Inside Out movies are gold. They're
Of course.
fantastic. Um, but you don't have to force feed people the idea that if they disagree with something, that means they're a bad person. That's what they did.
Yeah, and pit people against them.
Yeah,
It-
it should be about unity because again, I cited Gargoyles, which again might be the best animated series I've come across in terms of storytelling. I don't, but there's a lot of contenders, man. Oh, like, remember, like, again, talking about influential TV. You remember the I think it was the Christmas episode of Hey Arnold where they just gave kids a lesson about the Vietnam War. That came out of left field. One of the saddest TV episodes I've ever freaking seen, and you're just like, they took a bit character who'd been a background comedy bit up to that point and fleshed him out in 22 minutes.
yes,
Like,
you have to touch. You have to go into people's soul, man. I
yeah,
mean,
but who can
that's a,
when like, but okay, but I guess they never came out and said it was Vietnam, but like, they had a helicopter landing on a skyscraper, and a bunch of
but
people
we
were
knew.
like, shove, yeah, we knew. If you knew, you
Like,
knew, and if you
activating the
didn't know,
embassy.
yeah, and if you did, but here's the thing, if you didn't know, it didn't matter because you got the point.
And you researched it. If you didn't know, you
Yeah, maybe you were too young, but like, because when I
or
first
maybe
saw it,
you can. Maybe then later in life you learned about the Vietnam War and you connected it with what you
that's
watched in Arnold.
that's what happened with me. Because when I first saw that episode, I was too young to really understand it, and then I was like, oh, that was totally the Vietnam War. Like, even like they have pictures of that exact moment with the helicopters touching down on the skyscraper and dudes like holding their babies up, saying, "Take my baby." That shit
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. I mean, they find a way to make it funny and digestible, but yeah,
But ooh,
I mean, I've always thought that a debate is about making your case. Like, I can't debate you with my goal being to change your mind about it. That can't be my goal, or like winning over you. Like, that can't be my goal in a debate. What I have to do in a debate is expose my point to the people that are either undecided or uninformed.
Well,
And then you
a public debate is for the audience, not for the two people debating. Like you each have a
exactly.
job to present your ideas as best you can and put them and pressure test them so that people can be like, "Hey, that stood up to pressure."
Like let's give an example of let's say you and I have to debate about we have to paint the house. And I want to paint the house black and you want to paint the house blue. And you have a lot of points of why you want to paint the house blue instead of black. And I have my
Which I'm
own,
totally right
no,
by the way.
we're not neither of us is wrong, right?
Oh, I
I
don't
mean
know.
neither
I
of
mean, I think you
you
can make
heard
some solid cases against painting a house black, but I see where you're going with it.
right. You could have a very good point against painting a house black. Like it's creepy for one thing, and it's like maybe it's off-putting for people that are gonna be walking around town, you know. And that's your points, and that's your ideas, and I have to listen to them. But my goal in debating you about that shouldn't be like convince you to paint the house like I want to paint the house.
Yeah.
I have to, especially if we're involved. Like, well, I mean, let me just give you a little heads up. I don't really believe in democracy.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
crucify.
well, but you're talking about true democracy too. So
Yeah,
let's
I'm talking about true democracy, not representative democracy. I'm
which
talking about true
I
vote.
don't either. True.
Yeah, and trying to convince people to vote like I'm telling them to vote because taking advantage of dumb people. I don't like that. I think that's a downfall of societies. But excluding that and going with the idea of I'm debating you in a public space to try to change people's mind so I have the majority of votes with me. That's what I mean. If we take a look at all the themes that these cartoons and shows touched upon, they are debate between the good characters and the bad character. They're both exposing the like you watch these shows like Another World. You know,
Yeah.
you remember this spin-off from the Cosby Show.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
There
yeah,
were
yeah, yeah.
Another World. There were a lot of episodes where they touched upon racism. You know,
Hmm.
because they did. I mean, because they were in this school like I don't remember if it was like an all black people school or like an all white, but they always had these white guys being like bad but relatable.
Yeah.
You know that they were like you could understand where they're coming from, and then the good guy makes him understand why he's wrong,
Hmm.
but with a speech, not with violence or like ignoring him and being like don't pay no attention to that. No, they give a speech exposing why they're wrong.
Yeah, so
You
it's
know,
irrefutable. They didn't just shout people down like we've been taught to do today. And actually,
they
the point I was gonna make, but shout out to Hey Arnold again. Remember the bullying episode with Harold? And it deconstructed and showed kids this is what bullying actually is. Is this kid is
yeah,
just insecure, so he just redirects it at the other kids.
right, and then you learn not to hate bad people,
You can't either,
but to
and
try
try to
and live
help
with
them.
them.
Yeah,
And,
want
yeah,
when you understand why someone is the way they are. Maybe you can't fix them, but you can at least
there's always gonna be bad people in the world. I mean, it's the balance can't be broken. There's gonna be always good and bad, and there's always gonna be good people and bad people, and there's always gonna be good people doing bad things and bad people doing good things. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mashup of. But we're talking about media as mm, not educating us as in the classical word, like I'm
Well, but
gonna
I mean,
educate.
it's the same function that stories have served for the entire history of humanity. It's just in a format that kids like. It's digestible. It's I mean,
Dude, I can't even begin to tell you how much I've learned from reading American superhero comic books. Like all like they're so smartly written, dude. They're like all the dialogue, all the scenes, like the art, especially Marvel and DC. They're all mm, they teach you things, dude. They
yeah, they
teach you things
absolutely
like
do.
never give up, like like be smart about things, like never fall into the pitfalls of depression, things like that.
Well, but even so, like take a character like Superman. This is my favorite minute. It's actually from a cartoon. It's from the 2000s, but I still consider it to be in that sort of vein because it's the same group that it's the from the Bruce Timm universe. So
Yep,
same deal. It's my
yep.
favorite. It's the last episode of Justice League Unlimited, and Superman's
Yeah.
fighting Darkseid, and he does that whole speech about I live in a world made of cardboard, and it's like if I'm trying to explain, because that actually changed my tune. I thought Superman was boring. I thought Superman was lame. That scene made me understand Superman. I'm like, this dude is awesome
Yeah.
because Superman
Yeah.
is a lesson in restraint.
Dude, I could, with a whisper, with a slight swap of my hand, I could erase you all from existence. But you know what? I love you, and
Mm.
I'm one of you. You know, Superman. We all know he's from Krypton, but he's more human than human,
He has to be because if he's not, then you just get Brightburn.
bro. He was raised in Kansas, man.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Point America. He was raised in Kansas with middle American values in a small town where you don't lock your front door, and everybody knows each other, and you know everybody respects the sheriff and things like that.
Well, and
I
heck,
don't know if
I mean,
naive of me.
yeah, well, I mean, I grew up outside of a small town where like my friends would just walk into my house. It was
Of
just,
course.
yeah, why wouldn't you? Always welcome.
And then you think about how the writers they could always take the easy way out with the story, yeah, and they don't.
Oh yeah,
They
no,
don't.
you could totally write yourself. But here's the point I was going with. Gargoyles. I'm weird. I like the third season because I love the arc with the Quarrymen. How okay, if you haven't watched Gargoyles, it's on Disney Plus. Just watch it. It's phenomenal. It's great television.
Really,
It's still great as an adult. I mean,
it's a
you want to talk about
bunch
a
of fans.
show. Well, but you want to talk about a show that tackles bigotry. I mean, this big on both sides. It's great because it makes sense. You understand. Like I always contrast Goliath and Demona, especially once you learn Demona's backstory, her complete backstory. You're like, I'm not saying she's right, but I totally understand how she got here. It's Magneto again. But then
Of course.
Goliath experiences the same stuff, not to the same degree, the same way, but the same stuff. Like his clan is hated by humans and he refuses to get down to that level of vengeance, even though similar to Batman in this way, he expresses that sometimes he's like, yeah, I'd love to, but it'd be too easy.
Man, remember the Care Bears movie,
I never
like the
saw it,
second
but
one?
I've heard about it.
So there's two movies. There's two Care Bears movies. The first one, there's this kid. He's a magician's assistant, and he comes across this magic book, and he ends up getting real power, real magic power, and he turns into this bad guy, real
Oh,
powerful. So,
sure.
and in the end, he turns good. I don't know if that would be considered tacky or like
Probably just
kind
because
of,
I would find it unbelievable. But I mean, well, I mean, let's throw another parallel. Spider-Man. When Spider-Man first gets his powers, in most iterations, he kind of goes a little nuts. Like he exploits his abilities
yeah,
to a
yeah,
certain
yeah.
degree because that's what a teenager that would get superpowers would do. It's not until in most iterations, it's not
Spider-Man is
until yeah, it's not until Uncle Ben dies that he takes on the more responsible aspect of it. But
especially
yeah, I
because
can
he
see that.
realized that he was directly involved. I mean, it was such a tragic coincidence, but it gives Peter the scope of how the butterfly effect is real. If you do good, maybe you're affecting a good outcome in the world.
Well, and
And if you
here's the
do,
genius of that is it doesn't matter in that kind of story. It doesn't matter if it's fated or not. The moral's still the same. Like
yeah,
sure, maybe if like who knows, Peter may or may not be directly responsible, but through that experience, because okay, let's say Peter wasn't responsible, let's say it was just a random freak accident, he still learns in that
yes,
moment, oh, tragedies like this happen every day and I have the power to stop them.
right. It's not that it affected me, and I
Right.
have to change it because it affected me. It's why it's bigger than that. It's realizing the what you said, to have the power to change things for good, for the better.
Yeah.
I mean, good and bad are so relative, but we know what we're talking about when we help someone,
At a basic
As a-
level,
when we,
it's preventing a tragedy. And who
let's
doesn't
say,
that
like,
resonate? Who doesn't that resonate with?
look, if you and me, if we end up in the fucking mountaintop of Mount Everest and we're starving to death, and our only source of food would be like we have to like eat each other, and maybe I have to kill you, or you have to, and it's a survival thing. I mean, maybe morals change in that scenario. Maybe it's not as
They
clear
do,
cut as
but
good and bad.
they're a real life. I think it's a different thing because like they made it's a great movie. I'll never watch it again because it's a great movie. It's an unpleasant experience. That Society of Snow. I think is the English
Yeah,
title.
yeah. The Society of Snow.
And apparently it's very accurate. I don't know the whole story, but I've been told it's a pretty accurate
Oh,
like
it was gruesome. There's an earlier movie about that. It's called Alive with Ethan Hawke.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I guess
But
it's more.
in that movie, my point being in that movie is they don't kill anybody. They just they agree amongst the group that like, hey, if somebody happens to
That
die,
will lead them.
yeah. And that's a whole different level. Um, I can understand why you would feel guilty. I do, but that's a different level than being like, I'm gonna off this person so that I can't eat them.
I mean, great pieces of art are plagued with ambiguous morals, and that's what makes it interesting. Like Magneto and like Demon and characters.
Yeah.
I mean, you can overdo it for sure. You can overdo it. I mean,
Yeah.
not every
Well,
villain has to be a good guy.
well, that's
You
the
know, like
point. That's the point I was going to make with the Quarryman arc. I mean, like, and let's not sugarcoat this. Gargoyle season 3 comes out with a literal KKK stand-in. Like, it's. I mean, it's they got hoods and everything. Like, and even after all that, like they are now literally being targeted. It's not just like people are like, oh, they're scared of us. No, these dudes are trying to find them during the day so that they can kill them. And even after all that, like they'll fight them, but Goliath refuses to kill them.
sort of like like the X-Men, sort
Yeah,
of like the themes of racism in X-Men. Like they they're helping a race of humans that fear and hate them.
because they
You fear and
understand,
hate me, but I love you and help you.
but they understand that if you just fight back and kill them, they're not going to
Yeah.
learn. They're not going to learn. The hatred's going to keep.
Let's say mutants wipe out all humans in the world because let's say Magneto goes through with his vision. Things are bound to get worse because you don't have any restraint anymore. You don't have any people to take care of.
Well, not only
You are
that, that's also assuming that every mutant couple gives birth to a mutant, which I don't know if that's established in canon or not.
um I don't think I guess it can skip a generation.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It can
thinking.
skip
So,
generation. The mutant gene can lay dormant in some generations. But I mean, in theory, in the Marvel universe,
you would think.
everybody has the gene mutant ready to be active. If humans get into contact with like the Terrigen mists from the Inhumans,
Yeah.
that might activate the mutant gene in a human. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
so yeah,
fair enough.
stories like that teaches you not to be basically not to do what Trump is doing right now. Like not to be brash about not to be brash about things. I mean, not
Well, you can't
just because you can do it. Just because you can do it, not only does it not mean that you have to do it. It probably means that you shouldn't do it.
in a lot of cases. And I always point this out because everybody likes to shit on America. And I'm like, you're talking about a world superpower who, for a fairly substantial amount of time, was the only nation capable of dropping a nuclear bomb. They did it twice and never did it again.
Never again.
And
then did it, and they did
actively
it
took
twice.
steps to not do it.
And then they made the place they bombed. They turned it into a paradise. Instead of making it, instead of turning it into ruins, dude. Japan is a paradise on earth, dude. They're so polite there. I mean, it's such a pretty place, Japan. Like I don't know, I've been to Tokyo, but
you've been there because you played Magic over there, right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
went to compete to twice actually. I went first to Yokohama and then to Tokyo,
Ooh.
and America. You know why people talk so much shit about America? Because you guys can take it.
Well, no, and
You
also
don't.
because a lot of people have never been anywhere else. Like,
They. I mean, I I've always thought that being an American gives you the not the right, but the obligation to be critical of your country.
sure, yeah, yeah. It's the I've never said don't be critical. I've just
Yeah.
I what I can't stand is the people who just shit on it endlessly, and then when you ask them, it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, here's the great thing about America: you can fucking leave.
Nobody's gonna stop you.
No,
They'll
literally
actually fucking
nobody.
stop you.
As Ben Shapiro always said, nobody cares enough about you to stop you.
Of course, of course. I mean,
Nobody is set up against you. But the question always is, and several people say this is like, okay, like I think it was either Ben Shapiro or somebody else said like, okay, I'll make you a deal. I will buy. Actually, no, I don't think it was Ben. I don't think he would have been this brash. But somebody basically told the person in the audience like, okay, I'll make you a deal. Pick a communist country to go to. I will buy your plane ticket, and
yeah,
I will give you 2 months worth of expenses to live there. You'll
just to
get
prove
set
you
up.
wrong.
Yeah,
Just to prove you wrong. Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean,
I will buy you a one-way ticket, and I will give you money to live.
you
And
know what it is.
nobody takes them up on it.
They're not stupid. They're just talking out of you know, it's the pampered life. It's
It is.
America is today, 2026, the most comfortable place to live in human history.
Yeah, that's
You
not
can just
debatable.
lay in bed, watch TV, order food, laugh, joke. It's really it's really a pampered life that most Americans live. I mean, most Americans, because of course there's poverty in America, but the majority of Americans are living a pampered life. And when that happens to you, you start looking for shit that doesn't exist.
Hmm.
And you start looking for things to complain about. And who are you gonna complain about the easiest? Someone you love and someone who cares for you, like your mom or your
Yep.
brothers. You know?
Or
I
your
mean, you're not
college
gonna go
professor.
you're not gonna go out in the world and start punching strangers in the face. They're gonna kill you with a stick, man. But your brother, you can swing at him because you
Yeah.
you, you have the you love him. You know it's not gonna escalate. So that's what's happening in America right now. People are going out and they're like, I hate this content. They don't really. They just want to bitch.
Well,
They're pampered
they say on their Ivy League campus, drinking their $8 cup of coffee on their twelve hundred
on their
dollar
iPhone
iPhone
with mommy and daddy watching out for them and all
and
their friends watching out for
and
them
their
and
UGG
having
boots, and their UGG boots and their Carhartt hat and their
And bro, God bless them, dude. God bless them, dude. God bless America. And it's not over yet. I mean,
no, it's
the
yeah.
the whole progress is like the whole Green New Deal and stuff like that. They have noble intentions. They have noble
It
goals.
depends. It depends on who you're talking about. I think some have very unnoble intentions, but I understand where you're coming from. Some people generally they're misguided, but they do. Again, it's the whole Magneto Xavier thing. It's like they think they're the
Right,
good
that's
guy.
they're trying to rush things because they think they're in a war right now. I mean, I'm gonna say I'm not a big fan of religion. I really think that religion has been like I mean organized religion has done a lot of good things throughout history, and they've also been like a speed bump in a lot of things.
At times, but I would again I'll just be honest. I think it also depends on what religion you're talking about.
Let's talk about Christianity because it's like one of the biggest. But
That's the
it's
big
one of
one.
the it's definitely the most influential in the world,
Yeah, there's
even
no
more.
debate.
There's no debate about that. I mean, the Christian Church. I don't like to attack religion as well because I think the ideals of religion are always good. I've never studied a religion that teaches you to do bad things. Even Satanism, even Satan,
Yeah,
the
that's
whole
yeah. The Church of Satan, the actual like body is
right.
actually more of just like a humanist organization. Like they're not.
Yes,
they're more against religion
Yeah, yeah,
than pro
they're
devil.
they're basically atheists making a joke.
But I mean, if you want to impose onto people, I think that's bad.
Yeah.
Either way, I can't impose you to stop believing in God. That's stupid as well. Like being like you shouldn't have these ideas. I mean, we all know we all have different ideas. We all know we have different views of the world, and we all have to learn to coexist. And that's what I mean. That's lacking today. That's missing in a lot of media today, in a
Well,
lot
yeah,
of movies
because
and
the
books.
the subtle art of not giving a shit has really
Yeah.
just gone out the window. It's just like I swear one of these days somebody I don't know if my neighbor's Jewish, for example, but like if he were, somebody be like, "Oh my God, doesn't that bother you? Why the fuck would it bother me? Why do I care? Like I don't care if my neighbor's Jewish, Muslim, Hindu. I don't care."
I mean,
Because
yeah,
the effect it has on my daily life, other than maybe getting invited to a nice dinner, is zero. Zero. It affects me zero.
yeah. I mean, I guess there's more sensitive issues about these kind of differences between religions because let's say you and I we do a business together, right? We set up a store and we sell sporting goods,
Mhm.
okay? And I'm Jewish and you're not Jewish. So I'm like, you know what, Jake, we can't open on Saturdays because
Well,
it's Shabbat.
I would push that. It's like, no, you can't work on Saturdays.
And I'd be, but it's my business and I can't have my business open on Shabbat. And you'd be like, what are you talking about? Saturdays is one of the best days to open
No, but
the
I
store.
guess then it would become a discussion and be like, wait a minute, what is the actual what does the law actually say here?
So according to my religion, if I work 6 days a week, and work means either supervising my business or literally picking stuff off the ground, if I make my sustenance 6 days a week, then the seventh day I have to rest.
Right. Yeah.
I have to not do what I do, and you know that's a mental health thing. You know
Yeah,
that's
yeah. No, I totally I actually I really dig the idea of Shabbat.
yeah.
I mean, for a long time, Christians did the same thing. It was just you didn't work on Sunday. We
On
just had a different
Sunday,
day.
of course, which is admirable as well. But you see how we'd come into this conflict, you and I, if
Well,
we
not
were to
really,
enter.
because I would just say, okay, you can't work on Shabbat. So
No, but I can't have my business open. That I
really, it
can't.
extends that far?
Yeah, because I can't do the same thing I do the other say 6 days. So I have to do something different this day, which
Oh no,
means
I guess
doing.
okay. Where I would get confused though, because there's a it's actually
It
I heard
doesn't
this
have to
joke.
be
I heard
personal
this.
work.
No,
It have
I
to be.
heard. Yeah, no, no. But here's the thing. I heard this joke from a rabbi. It's actually one of my favorite jokes. Where because there are Shabbat elevators. That's a thing. Because like
Yes,
when you can't do work, like you can't. What's the guideline? You can't create a spark, so
right.
electricity's out. So, but the joke is that a guy goes into a building and there's a lot of there's a lot of Jews working there, like it's an accounting office or something, like that's part of the joke. And he gets in the elevator and it's going up one floor at a time, very slowly. And he was like, what gives? And they're like, oh, it's Shabbat, we can't do this, that, or the other. He's like, well, is there a Gentile elevator? And they say, yeah, it's actually across the way. So he gets out on the next floor and goes across, and all the other the all the Jewish guys follow him and say, floor 7, please. So I thought the deal was you guys can't do the work, but like work can still be done.
No, let's say my business is I own 2 cars and I have 2 guys driving them for Uber. That's
Uh-huh.
my business. I don't drive.
Yeah.
I just stay home and I supervise my drivers. And I do that 6 days a week. Well, on Saturday, I don't do that.
Well,
I don't have my guys work. I don't supervise their work. I don't make money. What I do on Shabbat is I rest, I study Torah, and most importantly, I spend time with my family.
yeah, yeah.
That's a
Well,
very important in Judaism to spend time with your family.
I get what
Educate.
you're. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But my whole thing is that what I would say in that instance, say, okay, then we're closed on Saturdays because I value that more than money. Like we can make it work. We'll
But
figure it out.
Saturday is the best day, dude.
Dude,
Saturday
I've
mornings,
I've been
you the other stores that are open that are not Jewish, they make a killing on Saturdays.
well, funny you should mention that because a lot of people think Chick-fil-A loses a lot of money, but did you know that per capita they are the most successful fast food restaurant chain ever? Because
Is
they only have like 6,000. No, they don't. I think they only have like 600 stores, and they kick McDonald's ass, and they're closed on Sundays.
well, let me ask you this because I've never had Chick-fil-A because we've never had that in Mexico. How's the quality of the
It's
product in
exceptional.
Chick-fil-A?
Well, okay. So there's an asterisk here.
No.
It's not my that, but that's why it's not my favorite chicken place. But the people who love it love it. My favorite chicken place is
Of
Joel's.
course. So people that they respect that they won't open on Sundays because of religious reasons,
A
and
lot of
then
people
they
like that
make up.
though. A lot of people like
Yeah, a
the
lot of
fact that they're not open on
people,
Sundays.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, people
same
are
with Hobby Lobby. The store Hobby Lobby is closed on Sundays for religious reasons too, and people respect them for it. I think it's mostly in your intention because it's just like because there's virtue in that you would sacrifice that monetary success in the name of adhering to your religious beliefs. I respect
discipline.
that.
Discipline is an admirable trait.
Which
That's why
also
we.
those cartoons also teach us that. But
Yeah.
one thing we can all agree on is that if you're a content creator, creating shorts by hand sucks. It's time consuming. You waste so much time, and your time is valuable. Fortunately, we have a friend, Visor.ai, that helps you tremendously. And here's just a quick snippet of what they do. We use Visor.ai across all of our podcasts. It's a huge time saver. I tell people I pay for the premium version gleefully because it's not expensive. It's worth every penny. So here's a little bit about Visor.ai.
Stop wasting your
Smart
time
man.
on manually editing your videos. The secret AI tool.
People in Mexico.
Use. Once done, click Export to Post.
Well, I apologize, everybody, because half of that commercial was muted. So I'll just go ahead and do the spiel again. Visor.ai uses AI to take your long form content, clip it into shorts. It pre-frames them so you don't have to mess around with editing. It can add captions for you. It does all this automatically. It'll even post for you, which I don't do, but you can absolutely have it post for you. It's worth it. They do have a free version, but use the link in the description to check it out, and you can just try it. Just try it. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. And by clicking the link in the description, it gives us a little bit. It's just saying thank you to us for facilitating this podcast, and it helps us keep the lights on.
Thank you, sirs.
Alrighty, so yeah, going back to before we close out here, going back to the old cartoon, talking about because you talked about discipline. I mean, look no further than Dragon Ball. I mean, and well, not just that. I mean, there basically, if there was a cartoon aimed at young boys, like it's
Dude,
discipline.
there's this episode of Dragon Ball. I'm not like a huge Dragon Ball fan. I never watched it back in the day. I just recently watched some episodes like a few years ago. But there's this episode of the original Dragon Ball where Master Roshi he enrolls into a tournament
Mm-hmm.
and he tries to fight Mr. Satan. I guess that's the name of the guy. I don't know. I don't even remember the characters, but Master Roshi the, declines to fight his opponent, so he technically loses the match on purpose. and he's very powerful. He's most likely to win that match. And I don't remember the reason exactly, but I remember that later in the episode, Goku questions his Master Roshi on why he did that, and Master Roshi explained to him that there are more important things in life than winning something. Like it's not, things are not as clear cut as you might think they are.
Yeah.
You
Well,
have to learn to read the lines.
Yeah, he goes into the first two world martial arts tournaments they compete in specifically to keep them from winning.
Right, right, right,
Because he
right.
doesn't want them to win and then stop training because that's not what they're
Of
there
course.
for.
Yeah, you got it right. He wants to teach them that there are more important things, that growing is better than winning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And it's like I totally understand that. I'm trying to think of another example, but I mean, yeah, point to any uh
I mean, Goku
they
is just inherently good. He's just the best. I mean,
well, not
he's a
really.
really good.
His win-loss ratio is kind of the shits. He
But I
loses
mean,
more than he wins.
he's really good.
Oh
He's
yeah,
really
he's
good
good.
inside.
Well,
You know,
Goku is that elusive, quasi well written flat character arc. So is Aang from
from
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, he's a
oh,
flat
such a great
character arc.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very. But I would say that's a newer show. Although that came out in what 2004, 2005, 2006, sometime in there.
yeah.
It's a little bit newer, but that's written very much like a slightly updated 90s cartoon. Like it's more linear than you were used to seeing, but I mean Gargoyles came out in 97 and it was linear as shit. Like
It, it was Gargoyles. It's like I said, Disney. To me, Disney has always been equal to quality. Always.
well yeah, but like, you look at a show even like Goof Troop and it's like it's a family sitcom that showed a single dad and like yeah, it was slapstick comedy,
Yeah.
but I mean, who doesn't love Goofy? And then well, okay, here's another example. You remember Aladdin the animated series?
Yeah.
That show
Yeah.
should not have been that good. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
exceptional.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
exceptional.
They really made an effort. I mean, nowadays, I'm not really familiar with all the things that are coming out, so I can't really criticize. Like, I can't really say like what's bad and what's good. But I mean, like, I can give like modern examples, like what I gave earlier, like Rick and Morty and South Park and Family Guy and The Simpsons, and that's about it. That's like the big four. Everything else, I don't know if it makes the cut.
Well,
But
I will. Here's the comparison. I will because I hate this show for it. Uh, one of my favorite shows ever, Young Justice, was canceled to make room for Teen Titans Go, which is Drek.
yeah,
It's TikTok edited Drek for kids with attention spans of zero point 0.2 seconds.
yeah, yeah. I don't like that. I don't
It's
like that.
it's like so you canceled Green Lantern the animated series, which is another show. This was newer. This was like 2014, but again, written very much like a linear 90s show, written by done by the same studio that did the Clone Wars animation, and I think had some of the same writers. So it's very much in that vein, and a show that's way better than it should have ever been. So good, in fact, that in the later seasons of Young Justice, they bring back the Racer character, which is one of the better examples of a negative to positive character arc I've ever seen because he starts out as the villain and ends up becoming like the fallen like hero who thinks he's not good enough and then just through sheer necessity becomes what he needs to be and there's sacrifice there and it's so well done and it's a shame that they canceled it because it was great. It was way better than it should have been.
Yeah, America. Like, if you want to go to examples of morality and like public service announcement and all that, you can look no further than American superheroes. They're the poster boy for teaching kids to be good. I mean, we've talked about this, like how the old cartoons, they all had their post episode capsules
Yep.
where they talked about things like don't cross the street without looking both ways, help the old lady cross, uh, love your parents. I mean, that shouldn't be an advice that just should tell people, but things like be good, you know, like
Be a good person. Just it's not hard.
don't be shallow, don't be rude, don't be. I mean, it's not about being agreeable. It's about helping people.
Yeah. And
There,
just so the audience knows, take this conversation with a grain of salt because I'm one of the kids where do you oh God, I'd be scared to watch it now, but do you remember Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue, that anti-drug PSA that had all the Saturday morning cartoons?
yeah,
That resonated with me so much as a kid. I was like, this is awesome. Like we got Michelangelo, the Muppet Babies, Care Bear, they're all coming together to defeat marijuana.
yeah, like looking for a secret stash. Yeah. I found the stash. Yeah.
And the girl being like, maybe if I smoke it, he'll think I'm cool too.
Yeah. But you know what? They
Resonated
are
like
smart.
hell with me as a child.
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, like nowadays, you have to do it the way Rick and Morty does it. You have to
Yeah.
be funny and smart about it because kids are smarter today than
Oh,
that
yeah.
that they've ever been.
There's something to be said of a baby version of Kermit the Frog being like, "Don't smoke. It's
Uh
for
huh.
me."
Well, you're not yourself when you smoke. You're not my friend. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Brave Star and all those.
Oh God, it's crazy. And Michelangelo, of all the turtles, you're gonna have Michelangelo tell you not to smoke weed.
Yeah, the party turtle. Dude, I love the '80s, man. I mean, just because America,
Yeah, dude,
so
it
cool.
was well, and then just because I'll be honest too, I can't cite a lot of recent cartoons. Um, but the ones that I can that are not anime, because that's kind of a different ball game. But there's a lot of Drek anime too. Like older anime was better too. Um,
Right.
like My Hero Academia sucks, dude. I don't care what anybody says. It sucks. It's no good.
Watched it. I haven't watched a lot of anime.
It's a
I'm
walking
not. I mean,
cliche. I know. I'm getting sick of it now because it's all just cliches of what came before. It's all just repackaging those ideas. Attack on Titan's solid. That's good, but that's a fairly unique concept. Um, and not to mention, you don't see a lot of horror anime, or at least I hadn't, so it intrigued me.
yeah, there's this show called Doctor Stone. It's very complex. It's
Yeah.
very complex. Like, anime is really smart. I mean,
Well, but
it's
okay,
way.
let's go back, and I know the author has some issues, but I mean, I'm talking about this series more so than the manga. But like Rurouni Kenshin is a dude who goes around refusing to kill in an age where like the pointy end goes into the other guy. That's how swords work, and he's like,
Yeah,
nah, I'm gonna handicap myself just so I can make sure that my awesome sword skills don't kill anybody, even on accident.
we all love the outsider character trope. We all
Yeah.
love reading about the guy out of place.
Yeah. But even just in sheer volume, like there's less cartoons being created for children aimed at children today than there were.
Look, I'm not really, like I said, up to date on all the new cartoons. I read about this cartoon called The Proud Family a couple of years back.
That's an older show that got they
They-
revamped it. Yeah. I didn't
but
watch
they
it, but I'm given to understand that it was pretty good.
I've heard it's pretty good too, but I watched like a couple of clips about it being like really on the nose about like white people being racist.
See, I think that's the new version. I remember people
Yeah, that's
talking about the original being a little bit more nuanced. And Justin, I
so there's like
disagree.
this song. There's like this song they do like
Yeah,
white people are bad.
that's in the new version. Yeah, but Justin, I
Like
wholeheartedly
don't
disagree.
indoctrinate children. Children are very easy to indoctrinate. They're very easy to indoctrinate. So don't do it. Don't take your power and use it to control minds to be against to be against people. Don't be against people. I mean, why?
Yeah, why don't you have the episode of Static Shock where you find out that oh God, what's Virgil's best friend's name? The white kid, the token white kid in that show.
Yeah,
He becomes Gear, and you find out his dad's like this raging racist.
yeah.
No, dude, that cut deep. because like that's his best friend, and he like for so like the episode sets it up perfectly. He's like, hey man, why don't you ever invite me to your house? It's just I have more fun at your place, and then they find out, and it's just like, whoa, again, children. This show was made for children.
But I'm pretty sure they gave it a twist in the end. I mean,
They did
you have
because
to give it a
Static ends up saving
twist.
because I think his dad's a cop and Static ends up saving, and the lesson is learned, but it's like
Yeah, that might end up being like maybe I was wrong, you know? Not like these shows today that they're just like Trump is back. Like the new Captain America movie, they tried so hard to like paint the like Harrison Ford, President Ross. Like they tried so hard to paint him like a Trump facsimile. They tried. They used phrases like he wants to be a dictator and a king. You know what? I mean, stop it. Stop indoctrinating people to be against people you don't like.
yeah,
Because
no, you got to show the nuance
you
and
know,
you got to show the lesson.
you know as well as I do that this is one of the greatest movies of all time that that handles the issue of racism. American History X. It's such a piece of art, that movie, because you have the character of Stacy Keach, the bad guy.
Hmm.
Dude, he's so racist and he's such a piece of
But
shit.
he's so slimy too, because for him it's not even about that, and that's what Derek calls him out on. It's like
Dude,
he's
they're
trying to
so
make
happy
money.
thinking the fucking Confederate songs. The, they really think they're indoctrinated. But in the end, the story, the movie is written in such a way that in the end, the kid gets what he deserves from the black kid. He gets shot in the end from
Oh,
you
see,
know from
I don't agree with that. I think the message is that hate will always beget hate, and even
well, you I think the message of that movie is that before you have a change of mind, you have to have a change of heart.
yes, yeah,
Because the kid, Edward Furlong, which by the way, amazing actor,
did great.
he has a change of heart, and Derek has a change of heart. Edward Norton. They both watch these guys be so bad. I mean, Stacy Keach and the fat guy. Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't remember the actor. Really good. They're so racist. They're so much business of shit.
Like, dude,
That
they're so racist. Like, I don't like how do they have energy to do anything else? Like, you have to try. Like, that's
because they learn
effort.
it from being children.
Yeah.
They hear an uncle being racist or their own father or watch TV or listen to songs about being about how black people are not good. But I'm gonna say I don't know if this is I mean when I was very little, I was like maybe 5 or 4. I remember going to America on vacation with my family and going to places like New Orleans and Miami. And I remember thinking when I was very little, like maybe like black people are not the normal people, you know?
Mm.
Like to me when I was very very young, to me like white people were like normal people, and like Chinese and blacks and whatever were not normal people. But that's because I'm white. That's natural. But I grew out of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always kind of a sense of like, especially upon first exposure. This is why it happens with young kids, and a lot of times it's innocent, and they ask
Yeah,
questions that are innocent but uncouth in polite
kids
society.
are very blunt. Yeah, kids are
Yeah.
they're not gonna measure their words. But I grew out of that. Now I know that there's no such thing as normal people.
Well, and that happens with time and exposure and seeing more and more people who don't look, think, and talk like you.
But how did I come across that idea? I read it somewhere in an American comic book, or
Sure,
I watched an
I'm
American
sure.
movie, or I watched an American show, and they taught me there that there is no such that your idea of what normal people are is not real. You just made that up.
Yeah, it's normal for you is very abnormal for somebody else. It's relative.
We're all people. Even if I lose an arm and an eye, and I end up being like this freak, I'm still a person. I'm still the same guy. You know, like my appearance has nothing to do with who I am.
And we learn
Now, if
that
I
in American comic books and American cartoons
like,
and
I'm not
storytelling.
saying that you should like go into the fucking barrio right now and be like, hey, yes, hey, what's up, my friends? We're all friends, because you're gonna probably get fucking
Well,
stabbed.
yeah, I was gonna say somebody's gonna stab you, but that's just sheer stupidity.
Yeah. That's taking it too far.
But to be fair,
But I mean,
in their defense, it doesn't really matter what color you are if you go in there and do that shit.
that's a good point. They're indiscriminately criminals.
Yeah, they hate everyone equally.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh.
But I mean, let's just go to the original, I guess, well of of coexistence between the cultures, and that will always be to me Star Trek, the original series, where the main idea of the series is we have this crew in a spaceship that's composed of all the different races that live on Earth. You have the white guy, you have the black woman, you have the Russian, which at the time was like the bad guy.
Yep.
You had the Asian guy, and you had the alien, which was the magic touch of the show.
Yep.
The emotionless alien, which which is best friends with the white guy, and the white guy is the hero. Yeah, well, they all are. They all are the
Yeah, but it
I
paved
mean,
the way. It paved the way too, and eventually you get to Captain Cisco, Captain Janeway.
of
Eventually to
course,
the newer Trek, you
exactly.
get even more. Like people don't understand that was a big deal when Captain Cisco, or he started out as Commander Cisco, because God, we all know the black guy can't be a captain, not in the first season. Um,
Not
but
space station.
yeah, yeah, which actually that actually jives with the ranking structure of the show. That's me being a little facetious, but he gets to be captain when they give him command of a starship. He gets promoted to captain. That's how that
Right.
happens. But like that was a big deal.
I mean, um, it's you can definitely take it too far. You
Sure.
can definitely veer off the way because, like an example, one of the newer Star Trek shows. I don't remember if we. I guess it must have been Discovery. There's this episode where they have what's her name? Stacey Abrams. Is that her name? This black lady. He ran for some kind of public office in Georgia.
I don't
Stacey
know
Abrams.
which ones. I don't think I'm that far into Discovery yet. I'm
Well,
watching it
she
currently.
went on this show. I guess besides Jack Black, I think it was Jack Black in that episode. They're like the rulers of. They're like she's like the president of Earth.
Uh-huh.
They made when Stacey Abrams lost her election in Georgia in real life. Star Trek went and made her president of Earth in the show. Just yeah, yeah. That to me is taking it too far.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, I'd say so. But I mean, I think that's basically most programming today is either dumbed down or subverts for the sake of subversion or is more like in your face. And they've just lost a lot of the nuance. And
oh,
I'm
don't get
just,
me started on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. We'll
oh God.
talk about dumbing down a franchise, dude.
Do you expect
That
me to
just
believe that a 10-year-old girl not only outwits but also outruns two fully grown men on fairly even ground? No.
bro, that show has so many bad things in it that I don't even know where to begin. And I love Ewan McGregor. I mean, the only reason that show is semi-watchable is because of that guy.
Ewan McGregor.
Because
Because
he's so
that's
good.
fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, yeah, he's great, that guy. But I mean, nothing can save that show because they want to paint the black girl as infallible. She's unbeatable, dude. She can get fucking lightsabered in the chest and she's not gonna die, and she knows everything that's going on. Come on, dude.
But you can't
That's
do that with any character. It's just bad
not with
writing.
any. I don't know. Maybe the Beyonder. Maybe if you make the Beyonder movie, Marvel brings in the character. He's like a god. Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
That would be a
I don't think.
boring ass movie.
Yeah. I mean, not even Superman. I mean, everybody. You can't just tell people here. This is what I think. Think like this.
No, that doesn't
You
work.
have to expose them to the idea. You have to let them think about it. You have to let them come to their own conclusions. And maybe they won't come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why there's different strokes for different folks. Like there's shows I
Dude,
couldn't stand.
that's what's so great about the Black Panther movie. Actually, Black Panther is one of the better Marvel
It is.
movies
It's
that they
very
came up
good.
with.
Black Panther 2,
because
not
the
so
bad
much.
guy,
But
no, the second one is utter dog shit. But the first one, because the bad guy, Michael B. Jordan, which is such an amazing actor, dude.
kills it in that movie. Kills it in that movie.
Dude, his character won't stop talking about how the white people are oppressing us and how I want to steal Tony Stark's weapons and I want to steal all the vibranium I can so I can make weapons against my white oppressors. And that's such a trope. That's so played out, but
Well,
it's so well written, dude. It's so well made. It's so
and
well.
here's why it works in that movie, because that's what he says, but we all know, and it's clear through his performance in the narrative, his real beef is the fact that, you know, he was supposed to be a member of the royal family of Wakanda.
They did him dirty. Of
Yeah,
course, yes,
that's
he's
what it
acting out
really
of
is.
rage, and he's such a great actor too because he really he doesn't come across as fucking unbearable. You
No,
know, like
he's dude, like at one point I'm just like, listen, I don't agree with this dude, but I'm kind of on his side just because of how cool he is.
he's really likable. I mean, the guy. He won't stop talking about it. Every 5 minutes in the movie, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take these weapons and I'm gonna conquer them.
Kind of feel like we should
I'm
have
gonna."
reversed the roles here. We should have reverse casted. Because like the one good part of Black Panther 2 is when Shuri takes the plant and she ends up talking with Killmonger.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
I
there's a
mean,
twist.
there's guys that can carry a movie. Nah, not even that can save that movie. I mean that
Oh no, it
they
didn't
just
save it. I just that was the point where I kind of woke up a little bit and I was like, oh, okay.
yeah. Because they I mean they did it again with Namor. They
Yeah.
destroyed the character. They destroyed the mythology of the character, and the guy he's unbearable, dude. The Tenoch Huerta. Oh my god, I can't stand that guy on screen, dude, and off screen with his interviews. He's like everybody's racist against Mexicans. Okay, yeah.
Especially Mexicans.
Yeah, that's a lie, but okay. Yeah.
Oh god. Well,
So I guess it's all about a well-written script because if you know that this like American History X, like Derek has a lot of reasons to be racist against black people.
oh yeah, and
A
they go
lot.
out of their way because it's not a simple caricature, and that's what I'm saying. Like so much of the content, especially I would say especially for kids, it's so much of like this is a caricature of an idea. There's zero nuance. Like you have to steel man your villain to a certain point, otherwise they're just a cartoon character.
Yeah, and they lose credibility.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's no like yeah, if Derek's just a racist without knowing what happened with his father and all that, like then there's no weight to the story because you're not necessarily rooting for Derek per se, but like he's the focal point of the narrative. You've
It's
got to
so
be
well
invested.
written when they have their conversation at the dinner table and Elliot Gould is playing the boyfriend of Beverly D'Angelo
Yep.
and he's talking all this shit about black people and this and you can tell from the face of Elliot Gould that all of what Derek is saying is coming out of anger.
Yeah,
He's angry.
it's obvious. Yeah,
He's sad. He's mad. And he's a good kid. He's very smart and he's very angry. And he's taking it. And the character of Elliot Gould, he's trying to reach him and talk to him and be like, "You can't think like that." And Derek explodes against him. Like, "You're not my father." That's very real.
yeah,
Very real. That's very well written. That's
yeah.
but then again, he changed. He has a change of heart because that's. I mean, what makes a great writer? I don't know. Connecting with people, making your story relatable to real life, um, having a nice ending. Maybe it's all of those.
Making a believable character that even if you don't agree with them, you can at least understand a motivation. Like because again, if it's just a flat cartoon character, it's not going to resonate.
Let's see. Mm, where can we find a bad guy that's bad for badness' sake? Um, that's one amazing character.
Is he
He's
though?
great.
Dr. Claw?
Yeah, he wants to get him. He wants to get Inspector Gadget. Why? Because he's bad. I mean, there's no outlying reasons for him. There's no like
Well,
context for
I
what.
wouldn't say that's basic. I would say that's unknown because that's like Sauron in Lord of the Rings. Like, there's no goodness about him, but he's so omnipresent and mysterious that it's sort of more like an evil force of nature rather than a character. And there's a difference, and it can work. But
Well, if you take a character like Sauron, like what's his end goal is ruling Middle Earth,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So let's say you, Jake, you take a flight down to the Amazon and you find this tribal lost civilization, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They can't build a well, they can't build a dam, they can't build a power source. They live in huts, they get disease all the time, they still cheat and lie. Wouldn't you wanna and you realize that there's a lot of good people living there, but they're living in they're living like shit because the conditions are not there for them.
I know where you're going with this, and oh boy.
Would you even fix the place?
Yeah, the
It's
difference is
Avatar.
but the different
It's Cameron's Avatar.
no, the difference is
Wouldn't
motivation.
um
Sauron wants to
trying
control and dominate because that he wants to control and dominate, not to help the people.
doesn't he view the world as flawed and all over the place, and he has
That's not his
the
motivation
order.
though.
He wants to see them suffer
He wants to
because
subjugate.
that could be it. If you have a bad guy, let's say I'm a
It could
bad
be
guy. I'm a
it.
bad
It could be it.
Yeah, I feed off of your negative emotions, of your luge, what they call the luge.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
if that's my sustenance, then I have to terrorize you, right?
Yeah.
That's a good motive for a bad guy to just I have to be bad just for the sake of being bad, because that's how that's Pennywise, right?
Yeah, well, and you can like delving into Sauron's kind of a bad example of this because you can delve in. There are many fascinating sort of ideas behind Sauron, and Tolkien did this intentionally to keep it as a really loose metaphor and therefore timeless. But
Yeah,
you can also make the case that because Sauron has gone so far, he now cannot do anything else.
he's trapped in his own malevolence.
Yeah, exactly. He can't go anywhere. But I mean, we've delved pretty far into this. Let us know in the comments if you want to. I want to hear people's arguments. Point to me a modern cartoon aimed at children or young adults, and I mean, we'll see. I'm still this is a hill I will die on. On a balance of probabilities, the shows that were made before are significantly better, which is kind of unfair because any show made today is probably some kind of rip-off or reboot of those shows. Just like those shows, well, I don't know, there were a fair amount of original ideas back then, but I mean, IP is IP. But let us know in the
Right.
comments. We'll see you guys next week and look forward to Alexander and myself talking on the Arate podcast more about sort of that percolation of American culture. But thanks for tuning in tonight, and we will see you guys on